the rest or down position. No, they got to stop straight up and down in the up position, which with a cowl induction hood means you can't even open your hood to put a jumper on the windshield wiper motor to bring the wipers back down, because the hood won't open far enough for you to get in there. So we basically had to pull the wiper arms completely off the vehicle because they looked ridiculous sticking up in the air, and I couldn't open my hood. So I guess for that particular scenario, I'm gonna have to run to the store and grab a probably try with just replacing that multifunction switch on the side of the column, and if that don't fix it, then I'll dig a little deeper. So I will admit that switch has been faulty or had a short in it the entire time that I've owned this Blazer, because every time you cycled the ignition switch previously, the wipers would go up and down. Like it would cycle one time every time you added power to the system. So I'm hopeful that the new multifunction switch will fix it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. So anyway, I am currently going to come around the vehicle and start driving, but I wanted to fight with this stupid mount one more time and see if I could get it a little bit more sturdy. So let me run around and continue the video. Man, cold. It's cold enough. I've even got my, well, I got my vent on. I could put it on heat. But I had to turn my stupid heat on because I have a 18-year-old daughter that just graduated high school, which is why I haven't really had a lot of time to make videos, because gosh, who knew we'd get this busy with graduation and graduation parties and all that good stuff. But you know, got to stay diligent. But we were busy with that. Then we got baseball, because I've got a 13-year-old son. Actually, he's 13 and he's a lot bigger than me. I wished I was 6'1", 220 pounds when I was freaking 13 years old. He's like a giant. But it's so cold right now that you literally have to, of course I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt because I'm an idiot, but we went to Eli's first 2 baseball games Monday and Tuesday of this week. Monday night, I would dare to say that we all froze to death. People were talking about getting earaches, and I mean, people were shivering and going to the cars to sit in the heat. And then Tuesday night, everybody came prepared, you know, with coats and blankets and all kinds of hot chocolate and whatever. It's just retardedly, you know, it's just stupid that we're this far into May and it's still this cold. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me why the weather's so gosh darn cold. But I wanted to do some driving on this thing because I don't understand what is wrong with the bearings in this T-5, that sometimes you can drive it, and I'm talking drive it short distance, like local. If you're going to say go on a trip locally around your home or whatever, sometimes I drive it, bearings are perfectly quiet, thing shifts like butter. Then the next time I'll try to drive it, I might drive 3 miles and it'll start screaming and whining like a broken, you know, like you forgot to put fluid in your power steering pump, and all you can hear is that, you know, it'll just start doing that crap. Then where I'm out, too embarrassed to even drive it. But then other times I'll take off, hit the highway, go to Lee Summit, whatever, and the stupid thing don't make any noise. So I don't know if that's some kind of a bearing issue, shaft issue. I mean, it's just a splash oiling transmission, so it's not like it's got a plugged up oil galley and it's not oiling from, you know, sometimes. I don't know. I'm not all that familiar with, you know, what goes on and what makes this noise and that noise in manual transmissions, because I basically grew up with automatic transmissions other than, I had a 78 Camaro that had a Saginaw 3-speed manual, and that lasted about 6 months, because it's about the third time I really hammered on it. I blew that transmission into next century. For a little while I had an 83 Mustang GT. It was all factory, and it had a 5-speed in it. But other than that, like one time I had a 65 Volkswagen Beetle that had a stupid manual transmission. And my very first vehicle that my mom gave me was an old 72 3/4 ton Chevy pickup, and it had a 4-speed with granny low. But I've always, not always, that's really a wrong term. I've just generally had automatic transmissions because 4-speeds back in the 90s were so stupid expensive. You could have a transmission built and get a quality torque converter way cheaper than you'd buy a stupid transmission for, because apparently people had decided they were made of gold. I'm sure it's not any better now. If you went out and started trying to buy a decent 4-speed or a Super T10 or a good Muncie, I never could justify spending that much money. Or the little salvage yard down in Butler that we used to always buy our parts from. Here's the game that he liked to play. This guy that owned the salvage yard, where hey Dale, you got any 4-speeds? Oh yeah, I got. He'd have M20s, M21, M22 rock crushers. Oh, I got these Borg Warner Super T10s, blah blah blah. He had all these 4-speeds, but they weren't for sale. Now explain to me how you own a business that sells used auto parts, okay? You've got a business that has, I don't know, several acres of cars, and you make your money by selling parts, but you'll tell people I've got 20 different 4-speeds that everybody wants to buy, but they're not for sale. So I don't know for sure to this day whether he was just making that crap up, or was he just a selfish hoarder that didn't want to sell the stupid transmissions. I have no clue. But it used to just drive me crazy that he would have all kinds of transmissions, engines, rear ends, all the good stuff that people would actually want, but they're not for sale. Those aren't for sale. That's how I ended up putting that stupid Saginaw 3-speed in that 78 Camaro LT, because I had decided I wanted to try I wanted a 4-speed, but Dale wouldn't sell any of his 4-speeds, so I yanked an old 3-speed Saginaw out of a Nova and threw it in there with the intent that maybe one day I'd be able to afford a stupid 4-speed, and I would, upgrade it at that time, because that car with that little, it couldn't have been much over a 325 horse motor, if that much. But that clutch and manual, oh man, that was a good running little car for someone my age that drove it every day to work. But I thought I'd do a little short driving video, which I probably got maybe 3 or 4 miles on here right now, so that stupid whining noise could show up at any time. Or I could drive it for another 15-20 minutes and it wouldn't make a noise at all. That's what's so frustrating about it. But I just wanted you guys to see the video, another driving video where maybe the camera didn't fall over. To me, the camera bobbles. Like, I've tightened every fitting on that thing, But right where the camera mounts and swivels, for some reason, it just sits there and bounces. I don't know how in the world people are able to mount these cameras to where they would be perfectly steady, or they have a better camera that has like a self stabilization built into them or something. I don't know. As far as drivability, this thing, LS motor with this 5-speed is awesome. I mean, I have no complaints whatsoever when it comes down to that and how it acts. And once I get this stupid transmission rebuilt, where I can have a little bit of confidence that it's not going to fall out on the ground, I'd really like to be able to, kind of run it through the gears a little aggressively. I don't want to say, I don't want to like break it, because then I'd really be pissed. But I've been watching some videos of guys that run, they've been doing those budget builds. That big old crane. Better get out of the way. I got time to mess with you. But they've been building like what they're considering is like budget drag cars, because them old Fox bodies, people basically give away parts for those things. They are building like low dollar race cars. Hell, they're using like a small camshaft and a set of GT40 heads and maybe a few other upgrades to the MAF or something, and they're running 740s in the 8th mile, which is dang good. That's a dang good time for just parts that you get from Craigslist in the junkyard. But they're running those T5s, basically the same transmission I'm running, and I mean they're running slicks, launching at 3,700 RPMs, and one video I know for sure. Sorry about that. This peculiar lake, little road right here. It looks like they've been collecting potholes. So hopefully we'll get off of that here in just a second. But those guys are even power shifting them damn 5-speeds, which I didn't even think you could do and make them hold together. Excuse me. But they're, launching at 3,500 plus, and they're power shifting these stupid T5s. A little bit spinny. Got a raindrop. Need to hurry up and get to the stupid store, get my list so I can get back home. And starting to go through my garage and get it situated. So I've got to finish a set of 241 heads, and I've got another set of heads coming probably next week. They're old school 23 degree aluminum 195cc small block Chevy heads with the big valves and all that good stuff. So I need to get set up and get back in line with my porting. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. This Blazer is, I don't know, it's getting me where I need to go, and it's a dependable vehicle even when it's making that stupid whining noise. But I just want it to be better. You know what I mean? Like, I expect more from my vehicles, and I don't want to drive around in something that's too embarrassing. So hopefully I'll be able to get things lined out where I can get all my electronics, aka wiper blades, working again, and be able to get this thing. Slow down a little bit, because peculiar police love to give out tickets. So. Oh look, there's one right there. But be able to get all my electronics working, get my transmission working without issues, and then I'll start looking at building that 8.8 rear end to put in here. So appreciate appreciate you guys watching. Keep tuning in.